Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be talking about the 2022 Colt Gateway. We're going to be looking at the specs, the quality, the geometry, and ultimately deciding if this is going to be a good bike for you. So let's get right into the video.
The Dougsterbob mission, growing BMX by making it fun and easy to understand. For some of us, it's an escape. For others, it's a passion. But for all of us, it's a lifestyle. You're gonna love this sport. I'm glad you're letting me teach you everything that I know about it.
Alright, my name is Douglas and I run Dougsterbob.com. My biggest goal is to get 1 million people into the sport of BMX, and you can help me accomplish that by subscribing to the channel and liking this video. Thank you. Now, one part of getting people into the sport is figuring out which bike is right for them. There's so many different options when you're searching for a BMX bike. So I'm going to take a really deep look into all the aspects of the bike and tell you the honest truth. Now there's 5 things that you need to know about the Colt Gateway. 1, it has 4 different color options. It comes in a raw, a Cavalry blue, a teal, and a black. The second thing you need to know is that the teal and the black come with really cool Colt camo tires. The third thing is that this bike costs $429. The fourth thing is that the weight is around 25 pounds. We actually don't know a specific number since Colt hasn't released that information, but the 2021 Gateway was right around 25 pounds, so it's safe to assume that this is going to weigh about the same. And the fifth thing you need to know about the Colt Gateway is that it has some kind of strange geometry. We're going to get into that in the geometry section, but just know it's not your typical geometry. Now you might be wondering if the Colt Gateway is good quality, and it's actually not too bad. The frame is made from tri-moly, so the front end of the bike is full chromoly. The top tube, the down tube, and the head tube are made of stronger chromoly. The back end of the bike is made from weaker high tensile steel. This kind of material bends over time as you start to do spins and just put some general abuse on the bike. So it is a big plus to have chromoly in the front end of the bike, but just know that that back end can still suffer some damage and take a beating when you progress to a higher level of riding. The forks have a teeny tiny bit of chromoly. That steer tube that runs up through the frame is going to be full chromoly, while the legs are only high tensile steel. Very similar to the frame, these legs can bend, especially if you nose case a dirt jump or do disasters on quarter pipes. That stress on the flexing of the bike just makes those fork legs bend if they're not full chromoly. The bars are weaker high tensile steel and the wheels are single wall. Single wall is going to be a lot weaker than double wall rims. Double wall rims are, well, twice as strong and they can withstand to a lot more abuse. So for mid-level riders, I always suggest getting something with double wall rims instead of these single wall rims because the back wheel can kind of get expensive to replace. This bike doesn't really have any aftermarket parts, but the Colt Vans tires are pretty sick and they're a pretty popular choice. They're technically aftermarket, but these are only the 60 PSI versions and not the 100 PSI versions. Okay, and what's up with that weird geometry that I was talking about? Well, the top tube is a 20.5 inch, which is about par for this level of quality. Most bikes around this level of quality are 20.5 inch because it's a size that most people tend to be. It's not super small for those really small riders, but it's not a 21 inch XL version for those really tall riders. It's right there in the middle. Make sure you Google Dougsterbob size guide to check my size guide and see if this size is right for you, what size you need, and how different top tube sizes will affect your style and affect your riding. The standover height isn't listed on Colt's website, but it was a 9 inch last year. So we're going to assume this year it's also a 9 inch, but we don't know that for sure. The bottom bracket height is something that's a little odd. This is the second thing that's odd about this geometry, but it's an 11.8. Having a taller bottom bracket height like 11.8 is going to make the bike feel really responsive and higher off the ground, so spins will be a lot more snappy. However, the chainstay is 13.65 inches, which is one of the longest chainstays that you're going to find on a complete bike. Most bikes are around 13 to 13.2, so this 13.6 inch chainstay is going to provide a lot of stability and a lot of control for newer riders who are riding this bike. But with all that geometry, how's this bike going to actually feel? Well, because of the mixture of that really long chainstay with the taller bottom bracket, it's still going to feel pretty stable. Colt designed this bike to feel stable so that newer riders didn't get on something that was really twitchy. Twitchy is the right word. Something that was really twitchy and hard to control. So this longer chainstay is still going to feel really stable despite the higher bottom bracket, but it does get riders up higher off the ground and makes a good combination with the 9-inch rise bars. Okay, so next we got to talk about the Dougsterbob scores. This is a scoring system that I created to rank each bike for how good it is in street, park, dirt, how good the quality is, and then we talk about the overall value factor. This score sheet is completely free and there's over 80 bikes listed on there. If you want the score sheet to compare this bike to any other bike on your mind, hit the link in the description, put in your email address, and you'll get the link sent directly to you. Now, I'm going to put the scores up here on the screen while I talk about what type of riding this bike is actually for. And due to the more mellow geometry of the frame and the bike in general, this bike isn't going to be very good for snappy and responsive park riding. It's going to be best for more stable street or even dirt/pump track riding. It's a stable feeling bike, so you're going to be able to ride those things right off the bat and right out of the box. If you want to specialize in street or park or dirt, you can make some specific upgrades to achieve that goal, but it doesn't come like it right out of the box. But what about the value? Well, the Colt Gateway actually scored pretty high in the Dougsterbob value factor. It scored a 6.51, which is a lot higher than other bikes around this quality level and even other similar priced bikes. Actually, I'm impressed with the level of value that Colt provided with this bike. A similar priced option is the Sunday Blueprint. This bike also costs $429. It comes in a handful of different size options, but the value score was only a 2.33. This is because the quality of the Blueprint is significantly lower than the quality of the Gateway for about the same price. Now, the Kink Gap scored a value factor score of an 8. And it's only about $30 cheaper. So if you want to look at either of those two bikes that I just mentioned, I have in-depth reviews on all of them on Dougsterbob.com or on the YouTube channel. Just search for it and I'm sure it's going to come up. But the serious question here is, would I actually recommend it? And I'm the bike wizard. I know everything about bikes and I would recommend this bike. Now, you've got to make sure that this is the type of bike that you want for the type of riding that you do. You need to make sure that this is within your budget. You need to make sure that this is the right top tube size for you and you like how that geometry is going to feel. So I've made it really simple for you to figure that out. I've got a free BMX bike recommendation and all you have to do is put in your name, your budget, your height, your skill level, and I'll take a look at all that information and I'll send you a PDF back with 3 bikes that I think are perfect for you. And then you're going to find out if this bike is actually on there. The link for that free bike recommendations in the description, and fill it out and see what I get. Now, if you decide, you know what, this is the perfect bike for me, I can't wait to buy it, I'm going to put a link also in the description to the shop that I found it the cheapest. It's probably going to be Dan's Comp. I love working with those guys and they've got the Colt Gateway in stock right now. So if you click that link in the description, it's going to send you to wherever the bike is the cheapest and you can pick it up there. Now, if you find it cheaper somewhere else, please let me know in the comments so that I can make sure that link goes to the cheapest website. As always, guys, I appreciate you taking the time and trusting me with your bike buying decision. I can't wait to have you in the sport. And if you have any questions, let me know. Have a good rest of your day.